So motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're good with the consent agenda.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have the approval of minutes from September 9th, 2020. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in
All those-
favor?
Mhm.
Aye.
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 Right now, we have opening up public comments on resolutions. I'm going to ask our county liaisons to indicate whether or not there's anybody that would like to speak regarding public comments on resolution items only.
Yes, there is one participant that would like to speak. I'm going to unmute that individual now.
Okay.
Hmm. Okay, that could be.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you are currently unmuted.
Good evening, members of the board. Charles Cradaville, New Brunswick Today. Speaking against the three items on your agenda. They're labeled 8B, and then the other two of them are both labeled 8C. These are the apparently readoption of redevelopment agreements regarding the matter that we've been talking about at every meeting for the past several months. Can you just, yes or no? I know the executive director was kind enough to send me copies of these agreements already executed. What you're voting on tonight, there's no change to those agreements, or are they're identical?
Through you, Chairman, these are technically a readoption, so everything remains the same. And we did an updated agenda, which had corrected the clerical error that you just mentioned. So my apologies regarding double 8C. So it should reflect 8B, C, and 8D. Once again, these are.
Yes, not a problem there. I do think there is a problem with the redevelopment agreements. I'm sure you all know the reason that I'm so concerned and so passionate about it is what's at stake regarding the school that would be displaced. But just as a technical matter, a legal matter, it appears these redevelopment agreements are drafted in violation of the healthcare pavilion redevelopment plan that is on, has been adopted by the New Brunswick Planning Board. And I just want to be, clear. I did email you this before the meeting and wanted to make sure you know that redevelopment plan is crystal clear on this exact issue. And it says, quote, "The site or plan area is located in an area in need of rehabilitation. The rehabilitation area designation does not allow for eminent domain acquisitions pursuant to the redevelopment powers in the local redevelopment and housing law." So approving redevelopment agreements that authorize that would be really problematic. And I would urge you to hold these items. Can somebody address that concern? Why are you authorizing eminent domain when the planning board hasn't given you that power?
Yeah, at this time, Mr. Cradaville, we respect your comments, and we, as a board, this is the readoption of the identical agreements in which you have your own opinion on. Our legal opinion stands, and these are in compliance to everything that the plan's laid out.
I don't believe they're in compliance with the actual redevelopment plan that I did share with the commissioners. And so I would urge you to not make a big mistake and approve something that extends beyond your authority. I would also just raise a concern that your legal counsel is the same law firm that represents the New Brunswick Parking Authority, which is a partner in one of these redevelopments, and I think that's a clear conflict of interest. I've asked the question before and have not gotten an answer. I would like,
and again, especially Mr. Cradaville, the Parking Authority no longer has a role in this transaction. Therefore, there is no conflict.
Okay, so that's a change. The Parking Authority is out of the mix now. They're not going to be responsible for building the deck.
Okay, thank you very much for your comments. If you have any other comments, we would love to hear them, but this is not a Q&A.
It's just a clarifying question. I'd like to know, you're giving new information. I just want to confirm the Parking Authority is not a partner in the project at this point. Is that correct?
Technically not my client. I can only speak for my client. I provided you with one line description. That's all the information that I personally have. Thank you.
Okay. well, still some unanswered questions there. I, would hope that the parking authority is not involved in the project, but of course, this board's been told by the developer that they would be, and that they would be investing first 65 million and then somewhat less. But, I think that these questions deserve answers before the board takes a vote. I think that board members deserve answers, and I think the public deserves answers. And again, I just emphasize, if you haven't yet, taken a stroll to New Brunswick and taken a look at the current school that would be displaced and the warehouse building where the children would be bused to. If this moves forward, you have a role to play here, and you can either be complicit in this scheme to steal a school, or you can stand up against it and represent the good people in New Brunswick when you do it. So I hope that at least some of you will have the courage to ask questions about this, and maybe even, vote no or vote to table this tonight. Thank you.
Okay, are there any other public commenters at this time?
There are no other participants with their hands raised.
All right, thank you very much. So since everything is on the consent agenda, if you'd like to do approval of the resolutions, may I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to the payment of vouchers. This was included in the packet for review. May I have a motion to pay the vouchers?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to public session, are there any members of the public that are signed up to discuss any item?
Yes, there is a participant with his hand raised. We'll unmute that individual now.
Okay. Public session is now open.
Hello, it's me again. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Charlie Cradaville, New Brunswick Today. I did actually want to ask about a couple other agenda items. I see you're voting to, I guess it says, let's see here, authorizing you to correct and remediate formal actions. That's a result of the litigation I brought for violating the Open Public Meetings Act, I believe. Can you confirm that and clarify whether you believe that you were in compliance with that law or not?
For you, Chairman, this is a tool that public entities are able to use. This has been used throughout the entire state of New Jersey. Note, this is not technically a result of you bringing a lawsuit against the Middlesex County Improvement Authority. However, if there were, or if there may be any type of Open Public Meetings Act violations, then this was an ability for the public entity of the Middlesex County Improvement Authority to cure it through another open public meeting in compliance with the statute. So it's a mechanism that public entities use for any and all violations that may have occurred. So no, this does not acknowledge any wrongdoing. It simply acts in good faith to cure any type of violation that may or may not have occurred. So.
Okay, and I ask because we are due in court tomorrow morning, I believe, over this case, and so I would ask
I do believe that it's Friday.
Actually, I believe it's been moved. I got a call today that it was moved to Thursday morning, 10 a.m. So
Okay, we don't need to discuss that here.
okay, just making sure that the other side knows that's the correct time. And the final point that on this is that I would just ask if you could send me a copy of that resolution tonight, because we are it's supposed to be in court tomorrow morning. So would somebody be able to do that for me tonight?
Unsure about that, Mr. Cradaville, due to the fact that it needs to be certified and signed by the secretary. So the execution of signature has to be an original. So during this time, since we are virtual and everything has to go through the mail, it probably has a turnaround time of a week or so.
Okay, well then I may have to request an adjournment in the case because I need to review, obviously, this.
We're not speaking to your legal, yeah.
We're not addressing litigation. You want to do that, you do through the normal channels. You contact their law office tomorrow during working hours. This isn't the appropriate forum for that.
Well, I'm going to be in the courtroom tomorrow. I'm going to be, or at least virtually in the courtroom at 10 a.m.
This is not the appropriate forum for that. You have
I believe
litigation.
I believe the
You deal
improvement
with-
authority
you
is
contact-
the defendant. So it's
It doesn't
absolutely
matter who the
appropriate
defendant
for
is.
me to
We
talk
don't-
about it. You're not required to speak about it, but I have a
It is
right to
not.
speak about it.
You have a right to speak.
You're telling me I
about it.
don't have
We're
a
not
right
gonna
to speak
deal-
about this?
I just said you have the right to speak, but you do not, we're not dealing with your business, your litigation business. You do that on your own time, and you do that through the proper channels. You contact the law office. You have litigation with attorneys, you contact their office directly. This isn't your answering service. This is a public
Okay.
meeting.
Okay. Well, I'll move on. I'm not trying to be oppositional. I did warn you guys about this, and I took action as I warned. Under 8F, you have a funding agreement for NJ Transit building a new train station. I've asked you about this before. I was curious if there's any update. I know you've got an event tomorrow. The timeline on when that train station would open, and if you can give any details on this funding agreement, I would appreciate it.
Chairman, would you like me to respond to that?
Sure.
So, Charlie, the agreement tonight is to accept the funding agreement. It's the first phase of a 6-phase funding agreement to allow the county to proceed to procure initial design and preliminary engineering drawings, which is a major step forward for this project, which has been discussed and anticipated for many, many years, as everyone knows. So it's an exciting opportunity now for Middlesex County to move forward with this new opportunity in partnership with New Jersey Transit and the Department of Transportation support. It's a unique opportunity for the county to take on such a important infrastructure project for transit, and it will do an enormous amount of economic development benefit for not only North Brunswick, but for the entire county. We don't have specific timeframes just yet with respect to completion, et cetera. We're still early in the phases, but the important aspect here is that specific concrete action will now take place to finally come up with the concept and engineering design for the project, which is a major step forward to ultimately see it through to completion.
Okay, well, thank you. As you know, I'm a supporter of public transportation, and getting a train station in North Brunswick would be a big deal. My only hope is that this situation with the school and the redevelopment projects in New Brunswick, that does not distract or delay the North Brunswick project, which has of course been in the works for a long time. And so I hope that the board will see fit to hold off on these redevelopment agreements, at least make sure that they are correct before they are approved. And please, stop, put the brakes on this. It's not too late. Anybody can make a motion now to undo those redevelopment agreements and get them right. If you're going to do it, at least get them right, because otherwise they're going to be subject to challenge. And I, of course, reserve my rights to challenge these, these actions that the board is taking. Please listen to the people in New Brunswick, do the right thing, stop this plan to take the Lincoln Annex School. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we're going to move into executive session. This is to discuss matters dealing with attorney-client privilege along with a personnel matter. So at this time, we're going to move everybody who is not privy to the executive session into the lobby. Yes, we will be taking action prior to the adjournment on voting on a resolution that deals with a settlement, then moving to adjournment. So at this time, I ask our county liaisons to move our
You have been added to the waiting room. You cannot talk or listen until the host admits you to the meeting. You are muted. You can mute or unmute yourself by pressing star 6.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay, now we can go into executive session.
You have been added to the waiting room. You cannot talk or listen until the host admits you to the meeting. You
the
are
meeting.
muted. You can mute or unmute yourself by pressing *6.
Okay, so I think our public are back in. At this time, may I have a motion to accept the settlement recommendation regarding the foreclosure matter?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second.
Right there.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Moving on to item 15 of the agenda, which is the adjournment. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion. Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful evening.
You too. Good
Thank you,
night.
you too.